The descent. They didn't stop until they reached the base of the hill. They were exhausted, their bodies pushed beyond the red line. Wing Commander Varma groaned. His leg was broken, the bone protruding through the flight suit. Did we win? Varma whispered, his teeth chattering uncontrollably. Vikram looked back up at the ridge. He saw the silhouettes of the Chinese soldiers on the skyline. They weren't pursuing. They were too tired. They had the crash site, but India had the pilot. We survived, Vikram said. That's the only definition of winning up here. The night watch. Back in the bunker, the generator was humming again, fed by the Chinese diesel. The warmth was a physical caress. Ananya set the pilot's leg. She worked with a grim efficiency. He'll live, she said, but he won't fly again. Not with that knee. Vikram sat in the corner, holding a mug of tea. He looked at the fuel canister. It was marked with Chinese characters: diesel, Arctic grade, PLA logistics. He thought about the weird, mirror image nature of the war. They were fighting the same enemy, the cold, and killing each other in the breaks between the storms. Outside, the wind picked up again. The loudspeaker crackled to life. Tujhe, Deka tuya jana sanam. The song played on, slower now, deeper, like a heartbeat slowing down before death. Vikram closed his eyes. The winter siege wasn't over. The snows would last until April. Wake me in 4 hours, he told Sharma, and check the sentries. If anyone sleeps, they die. The darkness of the Himalayas swallowed them whole, a giant white whale digesting the men of iron and steel who had dared to enter its belly. The nuclear shadow. The Tawang sector in Arunachal Pradesh is not merely a piece of territory. To the military strategist, it is a killing jar. It is a bowl of valleys surrounded by commanding heights, dominated by the shimmering gold roof of the 400-year-old Tawang monastery. For 3 weeks, this spiritual sanctuary had been the epicenter of the most violent conventional artillery duel since the Korean War. It was 0500 hours on day 24 of the conflict. The monsoon had retreated, leaving the air crisp and dangerously clear. Major General Ranveer Rocky Pratap, commanding the 17th Mountain Strike Corps, stood inside the Mobile Integrated Command Post, MICP, dug into the slopes of the Sailor Pass. The ground beneath his boots trembled rhythmically, a seismic shudder caused by the relentless firing of the Pinnaker multi-barrel rocket launchers deployed 3 kilometers to his rear. Fire mission 7 Alpha complete, the artillery commander's voice crackled over the radio. Target grid 448, the PLA staging area at Bumla, is neutralized, saturation effect achieved. Pratap looked at the drone feed. The screen showed a landscape that looked like the surface of Mars. The lush rhododendron forests were gone, replaced by churned earth and smoking craters. The Pinnaker Mekitu rockets, with their 75-kilometer range and pre-fragmented warheads, had turned the PLA's forward assembly area into a graveyard of twisted metal. "They're breaking, sir," the intelligence officer said, pointing to the movement on the thermal sensors. "The PLA 52nd Mountain Brigade is withdrawing. They're abandoning the heavy equipment. They can't hold the line against the IBGs, integrated battle groups." Pratap didn't smile. He knew the doctrine of the enemy too well. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, did not retreat. They recalibrated. And when a superpower is backed into a corner, when its conventional steel is shattered by a smaller but more battle-hardened opponent, it reaches for the one weapon that changes the geometry of the world. "Warning!" the electronic warfare officer screamed, tearing his headphones off as a high-pitched screech flooded the channel. "Massive EM spike, it's not a jammer, it's a radar bloom, high altitude, coming from the Tibetan interior, Delingha." Pratap felt the blood run cold in his veins. Delingha was not an infantry base, it was the headquarters of the PLA Rocket Force, PLARF Base 64. "Projectiles detected," the radar operator shouted, his voice cracking. "Ballistic trajectory, apogee 800 kilometers. It's a DF-26, the Guam killer." "Impact point," Pratap whispered. Not us, sir. It's overflying Tawang. It's heading south towards the Siliguri corridor, or Kolkata. The room fell into a silence so profound it felt like a physical weight. The conventional war had just ended. The nuclear shadow had begun.